getting excited for Clio conference.
Yeah, CleoCon is coming up fast.
Oh yeah, Nicole, we got to order our paraphernalia
I know.
sooner than later.
Bringing back the orange shirts.
And
Always.
orange sunglasses.
Love it.
Nice. Yeah, and for everyone joining, we're just chatting CleoCon. We are 80% sold out, which is amazing.
Wow. Wow. We got our hotels booked, right, Nicole?
We do. Yeah, that has to be the fastest you guys have sold out.
Yeah, there's a lot of interest this year, and we just launched our after dark parties. So we're going to have the Grand Ole Opry House rented out, and then we're also going to go to Luke Bryan's bar on the Tuesday as well, as an add-on to your pass. So anyone on the call, if you haven't got your CleoCon pass, take a look, because we are going to probably sell out this year. We're at 80% sold out. Awesome. Well, why don't we dive in? I see a bunch of people on the call, so appreciate you all joining us today. And thank you to the CPN legal team for helping to organize this. So today we're going to be covering tips and tricks for using Clio Grow. So just some quick housekeeping. We're anticipating about 30 to 45 minutes. Really depends how many questions you guys have. So if you have lots of questions, we don't have a hard stop, so we can keep going. Feel free to use the chat to ask any questions. Just make sure when you use the chat to toggle on everyone, because that allows everyone in the presentation to see your chat. So I've got a great agenda today. So today we're going to be covering, well, first we're going to do some introductions. Then we're going to be covering what is client intake and CRM and why use it. Then we're going to be covering specifically some tips and tricks for using Clio Grow. And then the CPN legal team has been kind enough to share how they use Clio Grow to grow their business. And then we'll just wrap up with some conclusions and any questions anyone has. So just to start off with some introductions, my name is Jay Barrett. I've been with Clio for just over 2 years now. And I work specifically with our amazing CCCs like CPN Legal with different marketing initiatives. So I'm looking forward to talking to you about some marketing strategies and client intake today. And Adam, you want to go next?
Yeah, thanks, Jay. Hi, everyone. And thanks again for taking the time to be here. My name is Adam Dennis. I'm one of the partner account managers on the team based here in Toronto. I've been with Clio for just under 4 years. And my role is to serve as the liaison between the sales team and all of our fantastic partners. So I also have the privilege of working very closely with Nicole and Peggy. But yeah, really appreciate everybody joining us and really looking forward to jumping into the content.
Cool,
Hi, everyone. Yeah, I'm Nicole Tedford with CPN Legal, our Chief Operating Officer. I know a good handful of you on the call, so thanks for joining today. Really excited for part 2 of this series, where we're going to dig into more tips and tricks for using Clio Grow as an intake system. And Peggy is going to join as well to talk about how we use it here at CPN.
Yeah. Thanks, Nicole. Yeah, I'm Peggy. I'm going to have a lot of great things to say about Clio Grow. I just know that we could have not leveraged the growth that we have experienced over the past 3 years without having a great CRM system like Clio Grow. So we'll show you a little bit about how we use it.
Perfect. Thanks for that. So before we kind of dive into the bulk of the content, I'd love just to get a take on what you're currently using for intake. Are you using Clio Grow? Are you using another software? Are you not using anything right now? Or you're unsure what you're using for client intake? Let's give that like 10 seconds. See a bunch of Clio Grow. Some people using nothing right now. Awesome. We got a lot of Clio Grow fans on the call. This is great. Awesome. So it looks like we have a decent mix.
Wow.
A lot of Clio Grow users, which is fantastic. So hopefully we can give you some insights on how to use it. And then those that aren't using nothing right now, I'm hoping you see the value of using an intake system like Clio Grow. So just quickly, if a lot of you using Clio Grow, we'll go over this pretty quick. But but just want to cover like why use an intake solution. And as a marketer, I'm always kind of thinking about these three things when marketing. So the first one is you're going to convert more clients. So using a system like Clio Grow or an intake solution is really going to help you convert more clients. And as marketing becomes more and more expensive, it's important that you're optimizing your intake process so that more of those become paying customers. Number two, you're going to build better relationships with your clients. So not only are you going to convert more, but the clients that you actually retain are going to have a better onboarding experience to your firm. And then in turn, will be more likely to refer business back to your law firm. Third, probably the most important in my mind as a marketer is track and measuring results. Tracking and measuring results is critical when it comes to marketing, growing your business, scaling your business, and a CRM and intake solution is really going to help you achieve that. So very quick, a lot of you are already using Clio Grow, but just some quick features when looking at an intake solution. So you want to make sure you have intake forms, email automation is a really important factor, e-signatures, so you can get signatures from your clients or potential clients remotely, appointment booking, websites. This is where we're getting more and more requests, is like, how do you actually use an intake solution to help automate and build websites to help with conversions? And the last piece is data insights, being able to look back at your pipeline, be able to look back at what clients you hired, and get reports on where those leads are coming from. So Adam, very quickly, I know a lot of people on the call already use Clio Grow, but I'd love you to dive into a little bit of the solution.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll keep this fairly high level and brief, given that we already have a lot of Grow users on the call here. But just wanted to give everybody the lay of the land, so there's a bit more context throughout the presentation. This here is Clio Grow. On the left-hand side, these are our firm-wide tabs, right? So we have the matter pipeline, the firm's agenda, contacts, matters, forms, documents, and reports. So all these key features on the left. On the top, we have visibility into our matter pipeline. So we can see our intake pipeline. So all of our potential leads, those have been hired, and then those who have not been hired at the firm. There's also a quick intake button to manually quickly perform intake at the firm. Of course, we can get all that important information down, the lead source, so where that lead's coming from, as well as any matter details. I think it's also important to note that within Clio Grow, of course, you could have an automated intake process in that you can have your form sent directly to the lead or put on the firm's website. And when someone fills that out, they'll appear in the lead inbox here, at which point someone from the firm can accept or decline those new leads, and they'll appear in this matter pipeline. And these buckets are set up to mimic the steps that your firm would use to intake a new lead, right? So we have newly added, consult scheduled, follow-up required, intake form sent out. But the general idea is to move your leads through the various stages of your firm's intake process and to understand where exactly in that intake process those potential leads lie. So you've optimal visibility and ensuring that nothing's fallen through the cracks. That is sort of the overall pipeline view here.
And Adam, just to jump in, just a tip that I heard from a estate planning firm out of Alberta. What they do is they actually pull up their Grow intake pipeline every morning on a TV screen in their office. And they, as a team, review where people are on the stages to make sure they've got actions on each of the leads. And that's how they found it really effective to manage their pipeline. So there's creative things you can do with that, with like Kanban board view, to be able to move leads through the pipeline.
Yeah, Jay, I'm such a big advocate of daily stand-ups or weekly kind of reviews. We do a weekly review at CPN Legal, similar to what you just said. We bring up all the new clients and all the prospects and just talk about each one. Could take 1 second, could take 5 minutes, but it is really effective way to make sure that you're staying on top of all your prospects and clients.
I think you guys are both hitting on a strong point, and that it's so important to have a systematic approach to intake, right? And these team stand-ups are one aspect of it. Another aspect of having a systematic approach are workflows, right? And that's another really great thing that you can do within Clio Grow. So you can actually build out specific workflows. Maybe they're practice area specific. If you only focus on one practice area, maybe it's unique to that firm. But let's say there's a new civil litigation case. And what's nice with these workflows is it'll ensure that all the steps that the firm is taking to intake a new client, whether it's a civil litigation case or something else, is consistent, right? You can outline all the steps. So maybe the first step is a call. Perhaps the second step is to send out a form and then an appointment, email document. What's great in these workflows is that it will be outlined and you can perform these actions right from this view, right? You can mark that you've completed that task when it's been done. In terms of sending out that form, you can actually hit options, prepare form, and do that all within this workflow view. And you can do the same for the appointments scheduling, as well as the email and documents. And again, the idea here is to really ensure that there's a systematic approach to intake. So we're optimizing our conversion rate. And these are all things that we're going to be diving into a little bit later on. But I thought it was helpful just to provide some context here. And the last piece that I also want to bring everybody's attention to is this reporting section, which again, we'll be diving into in a little bit more detail throughout the webinar. But what's nice about this is that it's going to keep track of all the data that's being input to Clio. And it's going to present information on the pipeline value across the firm, what the firm's top lead sources are, as well as what the conversion rates and values associated with each of these lead sources are.
Hey, Adam, going back to the workflows for a second, one of the ways we use these is when I'm on following up with a potential new client, I can visually bring this up and see what's been completed. And when I talk to the client, to the prospective client, they feel that I'm very organized, right? Because I can refer, it says, it looks like you've been sent this. It looks like we followed up on that. I can go up to the top here, Adam, and go to emails, right? And I can actually see all the emails that were sent. And this is a feature I really like because I really want to build confidence when I'm on the call with a potential new client and let them know that we're tech savvy, we're using tools to make the systems work better.
Yeah, it's a great call out, Peggy.
Yeah, Peggy, I really like that. And it's also all about managing the expectations with the client. So for example, if you can pull up and say, hey, these are what the next steps are. Here are the 5 next steps we need to take. Here's the timing on that. It's all about managing that onboarding experience for that client so they really know what to expect. And we'll kind of dive into like templatizing that a little bit, but I think managing the expectations is so critical. And some clients will be like, okay, what does the next 2 weeks look like for the, okay, here it is. Here's my workflow.
Yeah.
Everything you should expect from our team and the dates that are associated with it. Really critical for the onboarding experience.
And the last piece I'll add in terms of workflows and why it's beneficial is that it ensures the firm is built for success from a scalability perspective, right? If the firm experiences a significant amount of growth, having these workflows in place ensures that as you scale and take on new talent, they can just drop into the Clio environment and know how the firm operates, as opposed to having to take the time and really nurture and handhold that new employee. Of course, that's going to be an element of onboarding, but at least this way, they can see a step-by-step process for every single one of your different types of cases.
And that's a huge benefit when you think about the time involved in onboarding a new staff person, especially if it's in the intake world. Yeah.
Fantastic. Okay, well, as I said, I want to keep the demo version pretty high level and quick. So Jay, I'm going to stop sharing and allow you to pick it up.
Sounds good. Awesome. Let me just share my screen. So we're going to be walking through a couple tips and tricks that you might not be familiar. My screen sharing, right, Adam?
You are, yeah.
Cool. Sounds good. When I'm presenting, you don't quite see where the screens are, so appreciate the patience there. So we're going to be sharing some tips and tricks around Clio Grow. And Peggy, Nicole, if you have anything to add on any of these tips, feel free to jump in. I know you're going to be diving into like how you use Clio Grow, but feel free to jump in. So the first kind of tip, we have a couple different items to kind of support this, but cutting down response time. This is like number one benefit of using an intake system is being fast, being timely with your responses. We pulled some data in our legal trends report that showed that around 70% of potential clients will hire the first law firm that they talk to. So what this shares with us is like responding fast. The 24-hour mark seems to be the standard, but the faster we respond, the more likely we are actually to retain that client. So we'll kind of walk through some tips that you can do in Clio Grow to help kind of automate some of this or to make this response time quicker. So first one, Adam quickly shared it, but the quick intake button. So, some people like responding on a website, filling in a form, but you're still going to have those clients that pick up the phone and call. So it's really important that You have, whoever's answering the phones to be able to respond really quickly, capture all the information while you have a lead interested. So you can use the quick intake button in Clio just to quickly intake that client, get them into your Matter pipeline, and then send out whatever emails and follow-ups you need as quick as possible. So rather than writing it down in a notebook or writing it down in a spreadsheet and then having to translate that and have someone follow up, you can do that all automatically within Clio Grow. The other tip I want to share is email templates. We talked to a lot of firms who are there who will follow up with a potential client and write out an email every single time. The more you can templatize this, the faster it is to respond, and you're not creating more work for yourself. So you can create a bunch of new email templates, whether it's a new client who just signed up, an appointment follow-up with all of the resources listed that they need, as well as the onboarding experience. You could send an email template that as soon as you have a consult, it's like, here are the next 5 steps in the onboarding experience. This is what you should expect from us. Provide the resources that really help improve that client experience. We're starting to see more lawyers start to use ChatGPT to write emails as well. Use the tools available to yourself to make it easy. I would say if you use ChatGPT, I'm not an AI expert, so take this with a grain of salt, but just make sure you're reviewing all the content in those marketing emails, because obviously it's not perfect. And we're actually hosting July 11th an AI webinar specifically on examples that you can use at your law firm. So if you're interested, go to Clio, check it out. Should be a really good event, but use the tools available to make this template emails easier for yourself, so you can follow up with those standardized messaging.
Hey, Jay, on that topic, not losing touch with potential new clients. We had a client that was a super power user of Clio Grow, and they put together like drip campaign emails so that they were touching the people on a regular basis. We don't use those internally at CPN Legal, but I know that's important for lawyers to stay in touch. And I don't know how to set up those drip campaigns, but I know that he did, and it was very successful with shooting out different marketing materials or information about cases. He was criminal law, so it worked really well.
Yeah, no, that's great. And maybe we'll dive into in tip 2. We can dive into drip campaigns a little bit. So I'm jumping around. And then I know drip campaigns, we'll kind of dive into what they are, how to use them. And then Adam, maybe if you could show in Clio Grow how to set those up, that could be helpful. Awesome. So last piece on this response time. Again, it all comes back to standardization. Make it easy, quick for your team to be able to fire off the resources. Build an intake form on your website, but also have one ready that you can fire off as soon as a client expresses some interest in retaining you as a client. Make it quick, make it easy. And then once they fill in that intake form, have them create a matter in the Matter pipeline and then start working them via your intake process. So all those 3 tips really help cut down on response time, which we know is so critical for law firms. Tip 2, leverage automation the best you can. And Peggy, I'm really glad you mentioned drip campaigns. Oh,
look at that.
There you go. So for those that don't know, drip campaigns are basically a series of emails that go out to basically keep engagement with a potential client. So you can use drip campaigns to educate, to keep your brand top of mind. And it's a really good idea. So there's a marketing methodology called the Rule of 7. I still think 7 might be a little low, but basically it takes 7 touch points to convert a client. So it takes 7 times that your brand gets in front of a client for them to actually retain you. I honestly think it's going up. It's probably at 15, 20 now because the noise out there in the market is so much. Social media, email, phone, text. But Rule of 7 for now. So drip campaigns basically allow you to automate some of that process. So basically what it allows you to do is assign a series of emails based on an action that you have with a potential client. So just say, there's some examples here, but just say, someone had an appointment booked with you, they didn't show up. You can then have 4 emails go out with different resources with your scheduling link to automate all of that process to help that firm book in your calendar. Or another really good example is a potential client is unsure of what they want. So they reached out to you for information. They say, yep, thank you so much. I'm not really sure what kind of help I need right now. A drip campaign becomes effective because you can send blog posts, news articles, videos, and any resource to help that firm convert or that potential lead convert. So drip campaigns become really powerful because you don't have to keep track of the client. It can all be automated. And Adam, I'm not sure if you have your demo account, but I'd love for you to show kind of where this is in Clio and how to build and set up one.
Yeah, absolutely. I can share my screen really quickly here. But essentially, to Peggy's earlier point, what you can do is when you're working on a specific matter, you can go into the email section and choose a specific template you want to send to that individual. And as part of those templates, you can build out, as Jay explained, these fantastic drip campaigns. And to do that, you would go into the settings section, you would hit checklists and campaigns, and then you're going to see checklist campaigns and email campaigns. And basically under email campaigns, you can hit new email campaign. And this is where you would build out that drip, right? So maybe you would say family law intake drip. And then from here, you can actually build out however many emails you want to create. And in doing that, you can choose if you want it scheduled automatically and then what the due date is. So in this way, you're building out a specific email cadence and automating when it's going out if you choose to have a degree of automation. Of course, you can do manual sends as well. If anyone has like specific follow-up questions on this, we can perhaps cover that offline, but just wanted to at least give some context in terms of where you can play around with this sort of thing.
Hey, Adam, I do have a quick question. Is there any way once the potential new client has progressed to a client that these can automatically be stopped?
You're saying once they've actually been retained?
Yeah. I mean, you don't have to answer now, but it's something to think about because in the past we've had to go and delete the ones that were scheduled, you know?
That's a really good question. And off the top of my head, I'm not certain on that. So let me go out to the team and then I can, yeah, absolutely. Thank you though. And Jay, I'll flip it back to you.
Perfect. Let me share my screen here. There we go. So on the automation piece as well, we obviously know that your inboxes are absolutely flooded. Email inboxes are flooded with information. So a tool that we have is appointment follow-ups via text message. So this becomes really powerful because it automates that process so that, if you have a potential consult coming up, goes right to the phone. You don't want your emails getting lost in the noise. So this is a way that you can help increase your chances of the potential client showing up to your consult. And then the last piece, and Adam mentioned it and showed it in Clio, but leverage workflows, make that onboarding experience seamless, but it also standardizes your intake process, no matter who in the firm is handling that intake process. So just say you have multiple attorneys, with multiple clients, this becomes a standardized process at your firm. And like Adam said, you can have practice area specific checklists. You can automate reminder notifications. But really the whole goal is to improve the conversion rates, provide a better experience for your potential clients. Tip 3, website builder. So this is a product that we launched, I think back at ClioCon, Adam, in last year. So Clio Grow now has the ability to build standalone landing page, and you can add your booking link, your appointment booking link right onto the landing page. So for example, your Google business profile or in your social media, you can have that standalone landing page. It can be branded. So when someone clicks and converts, they automatically get added to your Clio Grow pipeline. So this becomes a really powerful tool to help kind of automate some of that process, but also give you a branded landing page that people can go on and learn more about your firm. And we had a question from attendee. Yes, we will get you a recording of the webinar.
I'll make sure to do like a top takeaways summary and send the recording out. So I'll work with Jay and Adam on that.
All right, sounds good. And then Adam, this is the last tip from you.
Perfect. Yeah. The last tip that we're going to focus on is to leverage reporting data. Jay, you can go to the next slide, please. But the idea here is to use reporting to better understand where the firm's business is coming from, so you can make more informed marketing decisions in the long run, right? Reports give you insight into how your various lead sources are performing. It also allows you to track the lead source's conversion rate. So, it's one thing to understand that you got 5 leads from a particular source, but are those leads actually being retained into clients, or are they more so just saying in our pipeline form? Understanding like what percentage are converting into actual clients is critical information. In addition to that, you can actually assign dollar values to matters, so you can understand the pipeline value by lead source. And by this, I mean, potentially you're generating leads from Yelp, and they've generated, let's say, 5 leads total, but the pipeline value compared to Yelp as opposed to another lead source is significantly lower. So although it's producing a higher volume of leads, they could be lower quality leads because they're not as lucrative to the firm. So again, these reports allow you to make more informed decisions because you've access to information like conversion rates and value to the firm. In addition to that, you can also pull referral reports so you understand which individuals are also generating business for the firm. I've worked with firms in the past who, maybe send them chocolates or flowers every now and then just to thank them again for sending the business their way. But all these reports really help ensure that firms are more effectively calculating an ROI, which is critical when assessing what marketing campaigns to continue investing in.
Hey, Adam, I have a quick question on the values thing, because when you create the matter inside of Grow, you're prompted to add a value, right? But you don't know what that value is going to really be. So at the end of engagement, like in Clio Manage, when you close the matter and you're done with it, and at that time you actually have the value of the case, can you go back into Clio Grow and modify that amount?
You absolutely can. And that's a recommended operating procedure, just so you have the most
Cool.
up-to-date information.
It would be great if you guys would automate that.
That is another good feature. What's great about having on the call, Peggy, is exactly what our clients need.
That's right.
So yeah, I'll make note of that as well, because
Yeah, like a trigger when a case is closed to trigger over. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, no, I love that. That's a good call out. And then the last piece as it relates
hey, Adam, before you jump over, we've got a question from Sarah about referral source in the chat.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's a great question, Sarah. Let me quickly pull up where that would go. I believe it's in the quick intake section. Here, Jay, can I share my screen really quickly?
Yeah, absolutely.
Trying to do
That
this.
is a great question.
We're jumping back and forth between people's screens.
So it'd be right here, Sarah. When you're intaking a new lead, under lead source, there's an option to hit add referral relationship. So just to show you again, if you hit quick intake under lead source, you can hit add referral relationship. And then as long as they're a contact in Clio Grow, that will basically capture that they were referred by that individual. And then when you go to the reporting section, you can run that referral report and see the individuals who've referred the firm business.
Hey, Adam, on that drop, when you start typing the name, if it doesn't exist already in Clio Grow, are they ever going to add the option to add like in Clio Manage? If it doesn't exist, you can hit add contact on the fly, because it's kind of cumbersome to have to realize it's not in there, then get out of here, go add it, and then you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, that's
a feature addition.
I love it. That's
because Sarah, we use that a lot. So yeah.
No, I appreciate that, Peggy. And to that point, if anyone else has any other feature requests, an aspect of Clio that you really love and have a suggestion in terms of how we can take it to the next level, please never hesitate to reach out, because again, that's the only way our team can improve the product.
Awesome. Let me share my screen again. There we go.
Fantastic. And the last piece or tip as it relates to leveraging reporting data is to take advantage of the data found in the matter pipeline. So what's cool about this is it's going to produce information on how many firms have been hired versus did not hire and the reasons why. So it's super helpful to monitor those specific buckets, so you can understand the reasons why firms are retaining, clients are retaining your firm's business, or as I would argue, more importantly, why they're not. right? I've worked with firms in the past who found out that a main driver for firms not going with them is that they were hired by another attorney. And that's really contingent on their response time. So how fast was that firm working that lead through their intake process? Clearly it wasn't optimally efficient in that another firm was able to sort of get them through that process quicker and then retain that lead. So I think just understanding why firms are going with your business versus not is critical in terms of just trying to always get better and streamline your process.
So Peggy, this is over to you.
On that note about the do not hire thing, one thing that you have to, as a lawyer, and we do the same thing, is if you chose not to hire them. So there's two ways you can get not hired. You chose not to work with them, or they chose not to work with you, right? If you chose not to work with them, it's really important to kind of document, for lack of better words, what was it about that client that turned you off or was a red flag, right? Because those things become very, very good data for you to start thinking about when you're hiring other people to do these types of things, right? What are some of the red flags? And what prompted you somewhere in that conversation, you got prompted to decline this client? So that, collecting all that data in there is good to do.
Absolutely. And Peggy, I love you to take some time to talk about like how you use Clio Grow at CPN.
Definitely. I started using it back when it was Lexicata, and then you guys bought it. So it's been a while since we've been using it. I think a few of the things, about 3 or 4 things that I love about it is the first place is when we first started working with it. And I know a lot of people on the call here said that they have Clio Grow. Just because you have it doesn't mean you use it. So using it is something it becomes habit forming, and you got to get yourself in the habit of. But when we first started using Clio Grow, it really forced us to look at our processes. And I'm a software engineer by design. I was a programmer, coder, so I developed software. So I understood the importance of bad data, good data, and all that. But if you guys really are at a point where you really want to start using Grow, you have to document your current processes, and you have to get into the weeds on it every step you go through, because those steps then have to be incorporated into Clio Grow, but it also helps you identify where you're wasting time or how to improve your steps. So that was one thing. It really helped fine tune our whole process. The other thing is it helped delegate. I needed to get this intake stuff off of my plate. I was way too busy, right? So by using a tool like Clio Grow, we were able to design it and build it so that I could then delegate those tasks to someone else. And I got out of it doing it. What else was it? Oh, I know what it was. When we work with potential new clients, I think some of the most positive feedback we get, and our retain rate is ridiculously high. It's, I think I retain everybody we talk to almost, unless I choose not to retain them, right? Back to that. But I think what really happens is the positive feedback we got from clients that work through the process with us, from sending them an automated intake form, right? Getting that intake form filled out, getting the automation of the fee agreement done quickly and timely, and it's the template, so it always looks nice. It's always good. Getting that signed, get them signed, and then that triggered the next step. Was after that signed, now we have to do the onboarding call, which is where Nicole steps in. She takes over all the onboarding calls. So the flow of it became a very positive experience, not only for my staff, but for the potential new clients too. And one other thing, we're a huge fan of custom fields. We use custom fields to control our data and manage and pull data out and run reports. Having those custom fields from Manage synced over to Clio Grow and then incorporating those custom fields into your intake forms saves you so much time, because you don't have to double entry anywhere. If it's on the intake form, that data can be synced over to the custom fields in Clio Manage if they're set up properly.
And I'll chime in. One specific way I use the system. Again, I'm on the second half of the client onboarding. client's already decided to hire us. We're onboarding, we're working through the process. We have in our hired pipeline column that says send a client gift, send follow-up, right? And so I'll scroll through there about once a month. I have a monthly reminder on my calendars. And just scroll through there and be like, oh yeah, I should touch base with them to see how things are going. I haven't talked to them in a while. And the list gets cleaned out maybe every couple months once we know we're in a good spot with clients. But that's what I really like the system for, is it helps me as, you know, one of the people in charge of retaining clients and making sure clients are happy and have what they need. It really helps me stay on top of that.
Yeah. The other feature that I use a lot of when I'm getting ready to do a potential new client phone call, I'll go to Grow and I'll go look at the notes that my assistant added, any emails that have already been sent to the client, so that when I'm on the call with them, I know right away what the conversation is going to be about. And I don't have to be saying, oh, hello, what are we talking about today? What are your needs? What are your interests? It's all documented and it's right and Grow on that dashboard or under the notes or emails. So that's something I use a lot.
Yeah, that's a really good call out. It's important to, I mean, not that you're not organized, but it's important to present that to the client, that you're organized, you have that information, so you're not asking redundant information over and over again to the client. Every person who talks to that client can start adding value right away, rather than going through the basic information over and over again. That's a really good call.
And then our assistant will send a quick intake form that just asks some basic information about why you should contact us, what are your needs, are you going through a conversion, bookkeeping, where you can, those types. So that intake form will also be completed in there. So all I got to do is look at the form because it's right there.
Absolutely. No, I appreciate you sharing that. And yeah, it sounds like you're using a lot of the features and you're getting some benefit out of it as well, which is really good.
Yeah. I can't imagine, and your inbox gets saved. I mean, how many times, you can't manage potential new clients out of an Outlook inbox. You just can't do it. You have to have a tool like this to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. Let me just share my screen again. Awesome. So I know we're running close on the 45 minutes. I promised we would have wrapped up by the 45 minutes. So if there's any questions for anyone on the call, the CPN team, Adam, myself, feel free to post it in the chat or the Q&A. So I'm just going to quickly launch a poll. Like, if you want to see more about Clio Grow, or you're already a Clio Grow, would love to hear your thoughts in the poll question. But if there's any questions for us while the poll's going on, feel free to put that in the chat or the Q&A.
I just want to chime in as someone who's implemented a lot of systems at different companies before. Starting can feel really overwhelming. Like, if you're okay, I bought Clio Grow, I joined this webinar because I want to get started, and now we just threw like 50 different ideas at you. Just pick one. Just pick one. Don't focus on automation. Just pick one thing to do and start doing it. If it's like, I don't care what it is, just one simple thing to just start doing it, and you'll be surprised how quickly you think of ways that it can impact your intake and your life at your firm if you just start with one thing. That's all you need to do. That's your homework for the day. Pick one, go with it.
Really good advice. Really good advice. Awesome. So yeah, just wrapping up. If there's any questions, actually, Adam, why don't you take this? It's your face and your email up there. So
you can always speak on my behalf.
Yeah.
Yeah. If anyone has any follow-up questions, never hesitate to reach out. Open door policy, as we like to say here at Clio. If you want more information on Grow, if you want a demo, of course, you can reach out to me directly. My email's right there. Of course, the CPN team is fantastic as well. So either way, just let us know and we'll make sure you're in the right hands.
Can I just close with one other comment, Adam? If there's anybody that's on the call that's looking to add Clio Grow to their toolbox and you're getting ready to sign up, please select the option, because I know that you guys, when you sign up with Grow, you can get like 3 intake forms designed or fiat documents designed, right, Adam? Like, that's part of a package deal.
That's right.
Yeah. spend the money on it. You'll save so much time and anxiety over learning the system is if you just let Clio, who are experts, work with you on those first intake forms and those first documents, contracts, fee agreements, whatever you want to call them. So just roll that into the package that you buy.
Another good call out.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, I know we're at time here. But
We actually have one question from Jeff on API connections for Grow.
okay, fantastic. Let me pull that up here. Do you have a timeline for you? Gotcha. So I think at the current time, Jeff, I'm not aware of a timeline on that, but what I can do is go to the team. There's a specific API team who oversees that, and I can see if there's an update there and certainly follow up.
Power BI is a great tool, so good for you, Jeff. That's awesome.
Adam, I want to put a request in for a feature. Can we add the ability to export the reports to Excel? I don't think we can do that now, unless that's something that's been added recently.
Okay, I have both those down as follow-up tasks along with the other feature requests. So I will report back on all those.
Thanks.
Fantastic. Well, I think that wraps up the webinar then. Again, everybody, thank you so much for taking the time here. Nicole and Peggy, thank you as well. And as we said before, if anyone has follow-up questions, please do not hesitate to reach out directly.
Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Great.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.